What if the person you trusted to heal you was slowly killing you? One meal at a time? In the early 1900s, desperate patients traveled across America to seek help from a respected female doctor, a woman praised for curing the incurable. But behind the calm smile, white coat, and spiritual language was a terrifying truth. Patients under her care wasted away until they were barely recognizable. Some reduced to skeletons, many never leaving alive. This is not fiction. This is the true story of Linda Burfield Hazzard, a woman who claimed starvation could cure disease, and instead shocked the world with one of the most disturbing medical crimes in history. Linda Burfield Hazzard was born in 1867 in Minnesota, at a time when medical science was still evolving and regulations were dangerously weak. She grew up fascinated by alternative healing and spiritual ideas, eventually becoming obsessed with the belief that fasting could cure all diseases. Though she never completed formal medical school, Hazzard managed to obtain a medical license in Washington state due to loopholes in early licensing laws. This single failure of the system would later cost many people their lives. By the early 1900s, she was presenting herself as a legitimate physician, confidently claiming she had discovered a revolutionary cure for illness: total starvation. Hazzard believed that all illnesses were caused by toxins in the body and that the only way to remove them was through prolonged fasting. Patients under her care were fed nothing but thin vegetable broth or tomato juice, sometimes for weeks or even months. Solid food was strictly forbidden. Those who complained were told that pain and weakness were signs the treatment was working. As patients grew weaker, Hazzard tightened her control, isolating them from family, restricting communication, and convincing them that outside interference would kill them. In reality, the starvation was already doing exactly that. Hazzard ran her treatments at a place called Wilderness Heights, a secluded sanitarium surrounded by trees, quiet, isolated, and far from public scrutiny. Patients arrived hopeful and often wealthy, believing they were entering a peaceful healing retreat. What they actually entered was a controlled environment where food deprivation, emotional manipulation, and absolute authority ruled. As days passed, patients became too weak to escape. Some were strapped to beds. Others were threatened with being abandoned if they resisted treatment. Many never made it out alive. Between 1908 and 1912, dozens of patients died under Hazzard's care. Their deaths were often officially listed as natural causes, such as wasting disease or chronic illness. Families were told their loved ones were too sick to survive anyway. But the bodies told a different story: severe malnutrition, extreme weight loss, and organs damaged by starvation. Still, Hazzard continued practicing freely, protected by her medical title and the public's blind trust in authority. The case that finally exposed Linda Hazzard involved Claire and Dora Williamson, two wealthy British sisters who came to Wilderness Heights seeking treatment. Under Hazzard's care, both women rapidly deteriorated. Dora died weighing just 50 pounds. Claire barely survived and later testified that Hazzard had forged wills, manipulated patients into signing over money, and systematically starved them to death. Claire's testimony shocked the nation and sparked a criminal investigation that would finally bring Hazzard to court. In 1912, Linda Burfield Hazzard was convicted of manslaughter, not murder, a decision that outraged the public. Despite evidence of multiple deaths, she received only 2 to 20 years in prison. Even more disturbing, she continued promoting her starvation theories from behind bars, claiming she was a victim of misunderstanding. In 1915, she was released early due to good behavior, proving once again how easily dangerous individuals could slip through the justice system. After her release, Hazzard fled to New Zealand and continued practicing alternative medicine under a new identity. Eventually, she returned to the United States, still convinced of her deadly beliefs. In a shocking twist of fate, Linda Burfield Hazzard died in 1938 from complications related to self-imposed fasting, the very treatment she forced upon her victims. She became a victim of her own ideology, leaving behind a legacy of suffering, death, and medical horror. Linda Burfield Hazzard's story is not just about one woman, it is a warning about blind faith, unchecked authority, and pseudoscience disguised as healing. Her crimes changed medical laws and highlighted the dangers of unregulated practices. Today, her name stands as one of the darkest examples of how cruelty can hide behind compassion, and how belief can become deadly when it goes unquestioned.